These are political honours made by the Prime Minister, and he's tried to fudge it. And I think he comes out, I'm afraid, I think the Prime Minister comes out of this very badly. And my view has always been that political honours should be got rid of completely.
Thursday, Rishi Sunak's been criticised for announcing a surprise round of honours this Thursday, right before the Easter break. Businessman Mohammed Mansour, who gave £5 million to Tories last year, has been awarded a knighthood along with 4 other Tory MPs. Director Christopher Nolan, his wife, the producer Emma Thomas, also are going to receive honours. Well, we can now speak with Dominic Grieve, the former Conservative MP and former Attorney General for England and Wales between 2010 and 2014, who now is chair of the UK Governance Project, whose recommendations aim to improve governance within the UK. Dominic, good to speak with you.
Good afternoon.
Thanks very much for your time. So, I mean, first of all, what's your reaction to these Easter honours?
Disappointment. There are normally 2 honours episodes a year. There's one for the King's birthday and there's one for the New Year honours. And those honours are vetted honours. That's to say that there is a system by which people make recommendations to an honours committee, which is completely independent, covering every aspect of our national life. And from that, we make appointments to people to recognise the work that they've done. Now, what actually happened here is quite curious, because the Prime Minister also has essentially an override right. It means he can appoint to an honour anybody he likes. And this has come in for a lot of criticism. And what seems to have happened here, as far as I can see it, in order to try to get round the criticism, the Prime Minister has had a mini honours list. So 1 or 2 of the names, those who are involved in the film industry, for example, are genuine honours recipients. But frankly, they could equally well have received these honours in the King's birthday honours in June. And then tacked onto it is, in fact, a series of political honours that haven't been through the normal vetting system at all. And it's admitted, if you actually look at the list, these are political honours made by the Prime Minister. And he's tried to fudge it. And I think he comes out, I'm afraid, I think the Prime Minister comes out of this very badly. And my view has always been that political honours should be got rid of completely. That's not to say that the people who are getting honours as political honours should never receive an honour, but it should go through the ordinary vetting system and not be simply the gift of the Prime Minister to pull out of his pocket.
But the Prime Minister's got that gift in different scenarios, such as when a Prime Minister stands down. I mean, we've all seen the problems with Liz Truss and Boris Johnson and their departing honours list. So it can happen at other times, Dominic, can't it?
Yes, it can, and that should go too. My view is very simple, and that of the committee on which I sat, which was a non-partisan committee, which I chaired, was that the honours system actually works pretty well. The one bit of it which doesn't is the bit which gives the Prime Minister this extraordinary power to simply dip into his pocket and say, you can have this honour and you can have that honour. And what should happen is that the Prime Minister should make a recommendation to the Honours Committee. He could have done it for any of these politicians, and it may be that the Honours Committee would have taken it very seriously coming from the Prime Minister, and they might in due course have received their honour at the King's birthday honours or alternatively at the New Year's honours. But the system has been brought into disrepute, and I'm afraid you can't get it out of disrepute by trying somehow to tack it on to a mini honours award at Easter, which, as I say, is essentially, as far as I'm aware, unprecedented.
Yeah, I don't remember another Easter honours list. Now, talk to me about the actual independent committee, because what goes on in it? I've no idea what goes on inside the honours committee. Who sits on it? Who decides? How do people get an honour?
The honours committees are made up of independent individuals. They may be former civil servants. There's a whole range of people who serve on them. And most people get an honour because a recommendation is made by an individual or a group of individuals saying we really think somebody should receive recognition for work they've done, be it at whatever level or in whatever form. And that goes through to the honours committee. And the honours committee sifts that through, and if it thinks that the honour is that the recommendation is a deserving one, it will award an honour. And as far as I'm aware, that comes in for very little criticism. And you can actually go back to them and you can say, if an award isn't given, is there a reason for it? And they'll usually give you a general reason. They might say it's too early, or it should happen later, or we don't think it met the criteria.
Yeah.
So there is a degree of transparency for people making an inquiry as to why an award hasn't been given. But this is entirely different from what the Prime Minister is doing, which is simply his capacity as King's advisor to recommend to the King, and the King can't say no, that a group of certain individuals should get awards because he has simply decided that they should.
Dominic, can I talk to you about 5 years out of politics? 2019, you stood down as an MP, and we've heard this week, of course, some pretty high-profile resignations from two ministers, and I think that's brought the list now to around about 63 or 64 Conservative MPs who've said they're going to be standing down at the next general election. What have they got forward to? What have they got to look forward to? Life out of politics.
It all depends what you want. I have regrets having lost my seat in 2019 when I stood as an independent, although it wasn't unexpected. And as far as I was concerned, looking back on it, I don't know what I'd be doing in the House of Commons now. I think I'd be holding my head in my hands with despair, because my capacity as an independent MP to matters would be very limited. So I think I have to accept I wouldn't be doing very much good. I'd certainly be able to do probably more outside of the House of Commons than I can do in it. So I don't regret what's happened. It can be a bit traumatic, particularly if it happens when you've been standing for election. But most of them will find their feet and get on and do other things. And I can only assume that all this very large number have announced their resignations, either because they think they will lose their seats and they don't want to go through that process, or they just think that they've had enough of politics. To say, seeing the state of politics at the moment, that doesn't come as a complete surprise.
Will you be voting Conservative this year?
I have no idea what I'm going to do. Not necessarily, I think, the answer. I haven't joined any other political party. I think I shall make my judgment based on whether I think Conservative candidate is worthy of support, and actually whether I think any other candidate might be worthy of support, or I might even decide not to vote at all. I have to say that I am appalled by the state in which my former party, as a member for 7 years, has got itself.
Are you still a member of the Conservatives?
No. I had my membership withdrawn when I stood as an independent. So I had the whip withdrawn by Boris Johnson because
you could have rejoined.
21 others defied him over a no-deal Brexit. And then I stood as an independent, which automatically, I think, voided my 47-year membership.
Yeah, but you could have rejoined. You could have tried to get back in?
Well, I could rejoin, but I don't think nobody's asked me to join, and I don't think I'm going to. And I have to say, seeing the current state of the party, whilst I remain a Conservative to my fingertips, I don't think the Conservative Party is very conservative anymore. And indeed, in some of its aspects, it's gone completely off the rails.
Just very briefly, in which way, not being conservative?
Well, it's embraced a form of populist politics that is very damaging and is also unsustainable. And that's why it's doing so badly in the opinion polls. Because effectively, it has succeeded in alienating core areas of support, quite apart from the fact that Brexit was a catastrophic error, and it hasn't yet come to terms with the extent of the error which it made. Those who were advocated it made, and those who've embraced it since, arguing that it'll all come right, which it won't. I mean, we can't just go back in. I accept that completely. But the reality is that Brexit was a fundamental error that has brought us absolutely no benefits and caused us massive economic damage.
Will Rishi Sunak still be the Prime Minister in October?
Well, it depends on the general election in October. I think that the party would be mad to get rid of him for the next general election. That really is a suicidal policy. But if you're asking me if I think he's going to win the next general election, well, the answer is no.
Yeah, just if he'll still be there at the time it's called. But it sounds like you probably think it will be the case.
I think it will. Let's put it this way: the Conservative Party really will have indicated that it's totally lost its marbles if it decides that it can somehow salvage its current difficulties by getting rid of somebody who is actually I think, in many respects, a pretty sound prime minister. But I do regret that he's being pushed around by lots of forces, and he's also making some mistakes. And I have to say, this honours list is a mistake.
Yeah.